And the public there, they weren't interested in the tickets, but they just give you 20 quid. So I remember somebody phoning me up and saying, "Oh, how you doing selling tickets?" I was, "I've not sold a lot of tickets, but I got a lot of 20 quid here." Right? This is great.
I've missed before in the morning. The Z feature now.
About the food?
Yeah.
Someone happened there. What happened?
I had,
What happened? Because you like were chosen.
Somebody.
Oh yeah, I know.
yeah.
So all you could hear,
We'll have that discussion when it's off.
all you could hear was a phone vibrating every 2 seconds. And the letters going from small caps to caps. Larger, larger, larger.
We can deliver whatever you're saying. And a point I was going to make before is one thing you used to say to me with regards to people on the street, either they're in drugs or gambling or whatever, which kind of stuck with me was that person there, he wants to change.
He goes, but before I make a donation, one thing, do not mention my name. I want to remain anonymous. And to this day, we've not mentioned this brother's name. And I said, right, jokingly, I'd start whispering in my head, ask for a number, you'll get it, ask for a number. So I said, what shall I put down? Shall I put 10 grand down? And he goes, now we'll do a bit more, inshallah. I said, this one.
Bismillahir Rahmanir Rahim. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. So recap from last week, we talked about how we started and we ended with we needed money to buy the property. But before we go to that, there's 2 of our team members who weren't there last week. So there's total 8 of us. 2 of them couldn't make it today. We've got Tanveer and Junaid. What I'm interested in, and I have a brief recollection of how you joined the team. What's your memory of you joining the team? Because you weren't there for the first meeting, if I remember.
So for me, I remember that this center was being formed and there was a WhatsApp group that was created with a lot of volunteers on there. People from Blackburn Road area, Halliwell Road area. And I remember just joining the group. I got invited, joined the group, and after the first program, there was like a debrief meeting with Hazrat for all the volunteers. Well, I remember there was about 30, 40 volunteers that day. And Hazrat said, for next program, we need a big clock. So the people that are doing the bayans and on nadquas, when we say 5 minutes to them, 10 minutes to them, there's a clock facing them opposite. And I was quite intrigued because as somebody who attends gatherings, you don't really think of things like that. So I took that on board and I went away. I found the biggest clock I could find. I think it was a bit too big. And I brought it in. But before I brought that in, I was in our office where I was working. And I remember one of the guys in the office said, I owe somebody some money, so I'm just going to ring him and I'm going to pay him back. So he rang that person and that person had no recollection of the person that was sat with me owing him the money. So they both come to the conclusion that give it in the path of Allah. So I thought, I put my hand up, and I've always been taught and work with the mentality, if you don't ask, you don't get. So I said, oh, I'm working with this youth center / Idara, and they're just starting up, they could do some donation. I remember it was £200. So the next time I came, I bought the clock and I bought the £200. I remember it. And I give it to, Hazrat was there. We were prepping for the next program. And I just said to Hazrat, there's a gift here for you. And he smiled. And I said also, there's a donation, not from me, but from a Muslim brother. I don't actually think them 2 brothers know that that was sort of what led me to become part of this group. After that program, Arshan rang me. And Arshan said, we're going to have a meeting in the next couple of days. Hazrat would like you to be there. Again, for me, it was like, oh, what's this about now? Bit of imposter syndrome kicked in, to be honest with you, because from my time at Nurul Islam as well, you lads were together, you'd organize events for the youth, and I used to take part in it. And I remember our guest that's coming on later on. I spent quite a lot of time traveling the country with him for work, and he always used to tell me the story about you guys and how like you started coming to the masjid, but you were regular footballers and you had family lives and whatnot. So for me, it was like, not bigging you up here, but like it was almost inspiring to say that I'm gonna be like, I've been invited to a group. We obviously knew each other through the masjid, but we weren't friends or anything.
Yeah.
And like Zed said, that it was a bit of nerves kicked in. Obviously, Hazrat's there, nerves automatically kick in. But to be honest with you, the way Hazrat and you guys sort of welcomed me in and treated me as an equal, I've carried that throughout my entire life since then. And even now in my personal life at work, I don't let imposter syndrome kick in at all. Because Hazrat's always treated us as equals, when I personally feel that we are nowhere near equal to Hazrat.
Yeah.
And
Just to come in at that point, you know, before you brought the clock and things, did you do anything in the field of deen, or were you doing anything particular or similar activity?
I'd always wanted to do something. It was more around the youth and engaging with the non-Muslims. That's the field that I wanted to be in. The only bits that I did really manage to do was Hazrat with their Darus Shifa. I'd used to take them to their programs a lot. I'd drive them to Blackburn, Preston, even in Bolton. Sometimes I'd take them. I took Hazrat to a few events down south in London. And regularly, I used to go with Hazrat to Jami al-Karam. Ma and Nizam used to study there. And I'd go with Hazrat, drop them off, and then come back. And we'd spend a lot of time talking, me and Hazrat. And it was, I never knew it, why Hazrat was asking some of the questions he'd asked me. But now looking back at it, Hazrat's vision and what he was sort of, the plans that was sort of coming up in his mind was, I'm not saying based on what I was saying, but he was just getting the general feel of what the youth were like, what was going on.
So, you know, a lot of the times there's loads of people who've helped us along the way.
Yeah.
What made you kind of stick? So I think one of the things that we always try and attract more and more volunteers, but it's not always, we can get volunteers for events and stuff, but obviously Tanvir's had something that
Like you
just
said,
kept you.
it made him feel welcome.
So maybe we need to
I think that,
Inspired.
yeah, I think it's a combination of things: being inspired, feel welcome. I think for me personally, the biggest thing was I was at a stage of my life, and like I said, our guest that comes on, he'd just left the business that I was working in. I was spending a lot of time on the road, traveling the country, Scotland, England, Wales. So much to say, in 2013, I covered around 127,000 miles in 10 months.
Oh.
So it was becoming a bit overwhelming. I just got married as well. And I needed somewhere where I could have some me time, where I can switch off from everything else. Switch off from home life to a certain degree, switch off from work life, because work was at a stage where the phone could go at 10 o'clock at night, 11 o'clock at night.
What did you do, by the way?
So my background for the last 17 years, I work in the post office industry. I work in a company that operates sites all across the country. And that I've been there for 17 years and I'm currently still there. This brother on my left works with me as well.
So we'll come to the brother on your left, because I think Junior's story is slightly different. I think we were sat in a meeting, and if I remember, Hazrat said, like, is there anyone else?
He was chosen, wasn't he?
He was chosen.
I was actually going to ask you that question.
Yeah.
That's always been on my mind, back of my mind. Was I chosen or was I asked to join? Because when I came and saw you guys, the feeling I got is that, okay, I've already been accepted, and I've joined you. Because the reaction that I didn't get was, oh, what's he doing here? That kind of reaction.
Yeah.
My story was, I was actually at Hazrat's house. You're probably going to laugh. I was setting up his new PC for his children. Yeah? I've done that for our guest that's going to be coming in quite a few times. Yeah, I've probably done it for all you guys as well.
For me on a daily basis at work.
Yeah. So I was actually having a general conversation. It was just me and Huzra and the PC in the room, and we're talking about daily life to life, and the topic of Dean came up. He had questioned me about what I was doing, what I'd done for Dean, and so forth. So I mentioned that we were part of the NDG group, the Nur Islam Dawah group. And I said that I've taught at Nur Islam as well. I used to do a 1-hour session every week with our Fuzail Bombay. So we used to teach his class, with Muslim Masail and so forth on a weekly basis. And then Hazrat proposed that, do you want to join the IEC? I'll be honest with you, I didn't know. Even though I played football with you guys, I hung around with you guys, I even lived literally 100 meters away from you at that point in time. I didn't know about IEC. I said, yeah, I'm more than welcome. I'll join you guys. So I attended the Tuesday meeting, and from there, it's been
Just from there, you've never been meeting.
First and only meeting.
This can happen on Tuesdays, by
I'm
the way.
waiting for that one. So, alhamdulillah, it's been a very interesting journey, and long may it continue, inshallah.
I think that's a good point. We'll bring our guest in now. So, Sal, if you want to join us. So, last week when we were talking, I said we were.
So,
So last week we were sat, when we were doing the podcast, we talked about how we didn't have the money, and we were sat in a meeting thinking, what do we do now? We're literally on a situation where we either close IEC, or we carry on. And it takes me back to a phone call that I made to Sal. So me and Sal used to talk commuting from our workplaces.
We still talk.
And we talk about general stuff. And I've always found Sal to be someone who I can kind of just bounce ideas and kind of share any doubts or questions. So I remember saying to you, Sal, we're having difficulties getting money for IEC. And I still remember the words that you used. Because you asked me, like, what are you doing? I said, we went to certain people's houses and we've asked a few people and we've got our own money. And I think you paused for a bit. And in your own, like in Gujarati language, you were like, oh God, Sati Kulina Magoni? And it's like, okay, like, what do you mean? It's like, you're not asking for yourself. Just ask. You can't, like, almost we were doing it as if, like, we were not hiding, but doing it in a very subtle way.
yeah, because I think we've never done it before. And it was like, for me, I was like, when I used to ask, even family and friends, when you're asking, you think, shall I ask, what will he think? Or will he give it? And I think the main thing is when you ask and you think you're not going to get anything, you feel like, oh, I should have asked him. But again, what you just said, someone said this to me as well, that don't worry, you're not asking for yourself. If you're asking for yourself, then yeah, okay, you've got that nervousness, yeah, but you're asking for the path of Allah. So don't worry. You don't have to worry about anything. When you send a message or when you tell someone that you're asking for money for a mosque, that's it. Now it's up to them if they want to give it. And from that day, and I'm sure people can see so many messages from me when I spam them for donations, but I don't have that guilt saying that, you know what, or what would he think? I'm like, if you want to give, you can give. If you're blessed, then you'll be chosen. It's like you'll be chosen to give.
I think for me, on the back of that was 2 points in terms of the fear of rejection. If someone turns you away, that confidence goes. But at the same time, I was used to collecting £100 a year, £200 a year, £300. But when you've got a target of £150,000, it was quite daunting. It's like, where do we start with this number? And yeah, we pledged our own money, but even then it was just a drop in the ocean and we still had a large amount to go.
You know, when you said and I agree with this because I think I felt it as well. We were uncomfortable asking. Do you think that was a bit of imposter syndrome as well?
Yeah.
That
Who are we
again,
to ask?
what stage of our lives we were at then?
Yeah.
And
Pretty young, weren't
yeah, and
I'd say early 20s at that point.
you? When was this anyway?
Yeah.
2017,
Yeah.
2018. About
yeah.
30s then, yeah.
So,
late 20s. Yeah. But is that not a bit of a fear of asking and fear of rejection? Because let's face it, when you are rejected anyway, it hurts your ego as well a bit. So maybe that's a confidence thing.
Yeah.
So was that the same feeling for you? And
Yeah,
what
I
was
think-
holding you back?
Yeah, I think we've never done it before, I think.
Yeah.
It's almost like, I've never done this. It's like a new thing. And everyone who spoke to in our phone book has been like other discussion. We never really have this situation where we're asking for money for the masjid. And bringing it to Sal, our phone books are limited compared to someone like Sal. So when Sal looks at your phone book, he's thinking,
Yeah.
I can ring all these people. I've got these
It's a
relationships.
very valuable phone book.
Because our phone book is the same. Exactly, yeah.
So that's what I was thinking as well. If I'm going to ring this person as one of the other guys rang him, I'm going to pester that person. So that hesitation there, and it's a hesitation
It's
as
a
well at the same
hesitation,
time.
yeah.
I think during that time, I think you all had the skills. I think you just needed somebody to tell you, put it all together.
So you said what you said to me. What was your feeling?
I can't remember that far back, but I can remember vaguely having that conversation with you.
Because it's
And it was, you were right. It was just saying that, just think big. It's something we can do. And you see around the country as well, in other towns and everything, and they need to raise money or whatever. I feel they're just a bit behind.
It sounds like that though. Oh, like, just go.
Yeah.
Do it.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter.
Yeah.
And that's from growing up.
Yeah.
That's what Sal's been like. That go all in.
Go on.
I think for me, when obviously I wasn't there when you had the conversation, but you told us about the conversation afterwards. Getting that sort of advice from Sal, why it holds a lot of weight is because you yourself, you're quite an experienced individual, and we'd spent a lot of time with you in our late teens, early 20s with the football.
Even at the mosque, I used to.
Yeah, even at the mosque.
Oh, yeah.
Good example.
that's what I was referring to as well.
How many times would you have to stand up?
So many times.
It was a good thing. It used to be an
And that's,
example
to be fair, that's what inspired me. We used to walk out into the Zoukana towards Sal's going to be able to stand up again.
In that sense as well, where I come into it with, obviously, when I was growing up, before I found Salah, Islam, I think, and inshallah, I hope it comes back, inshallah, make dua with the beard and everything when we change. Only a couple of days ago at the shop, I was working and somebody came in, and I don't want to mention names, and I was just chatting for him for about half an hour, and he just said, Sal, I've always wanted to say this to you. I said, you've been an inspiration to a lot of the youth. And they did turn on. I don't mind saying it here. In terms of the beard, and people look up to you. And I think during that time, me frequently going to the mosque, you have the sunnah on your face. Automatically, Allah gives you that izzat. Once you have that, you're confident. And with the personality I had, so I was afraid. I knew a lot of people, and they knew in terms of the changes I've had in my life. I could have gone up to anybody and said, right, I want 15,000. Give me 10,000. Because we had big donators at that time. And they said, so I just feel in terms of if your character and everything's right, they're actually giving that money to you because they know it's going to go into good use. And I think you guys have got that.
I think over that period, there was highs and lows for me personally. And when you saw, because I worked with Sal, I traveled the country with Sal, and they say you really get to know a person when you travel with them. And hearing that from Sal sort of gave me the reassurance that we're on the right track, because if Sal's trusting us and giving us that confidence that go and ask because you'll get it, then for me, that was a bit of a confidence booster. So that was one of the highs. And then there was a few lows, which I'm sure we'll come back onto.
Yeah.
But initial that hesitation and then Sal giving us that boost to say, go, you can do it.
I think even, you know, for people watching, it wasn't Sal said it and then, we were like, yes. We still have still had that in us that, okay, shall we go? And I'm sure you'll touch on it when we went to different mosques about the tickets and stuff like that. I'll let you take it.
There's a good point, because to be honest, after the phone call, I felt like that. Because I was like, let's go.
Go on, I'll let you finish. But, after the phone call, you brought it to the table. What was the reaction? Was it yes, no?
I think it was generally positive.
Yeah, but it's the same thing that Tanvir said, that when I found out it was Sal that was saying this and kind of giving us his backing, it was almost like, you felt a bit more brave.
Yeah.
That actually, this guy is somebody who knows what he's talking about and he's saying it.
And the thing is, because we're all of a similar age, it's almost like someone elder saying something just gives us that confidence. So we're not just this 8 of us trying to do this. It's not our bubble trying to achieve this big target. And the first thing I did, and this is typically how we kind of operate as a team, is I phoned Hazrat straight away. And I said, Hazrat, we've got an idea. And beauty about Hazrat when it comes to these kind of ideas is like similar to what you're like, positive, right, let's go. So I shared it on the group and the same kind of reaction. I'm sure everyone had like questions. I had questions, what we're going to do. We just said we're going to do a fundraising dinner.
I mentioned the Wiscardian, I said to you.
Yeah, you said we'll get someone.
Why don't we get Wiscardian? And that thing you said, Wiscardian house. I said, we'll get him. We got him.
Yeah.
Alhamdulillah.
So we obviously then had a meeting between the 8 of us, and it was all brilliant, like saying that we're going to do this fundraising dinner, blah, blah, blah. But the actual intricate details of it, that's when the hard work kind of kicked
behind
the scenes. I remember we had a meeting like twice a week, because if you think about it, it was, like you said, the guests, who's going to attend, how we're going to, we came up with the idea we're going to sell tickets. So coming to one of the kind of, not laws, but one of the challenges is, how do we attract people to come to this fundraising dinner?
I remember we sat in the meeting with Hazrat, and we'd unanimously agreed that we'll do a £20 a ticket, round tables, and we'll make it like a proper professional. £20, and we'll make it a proper professional sit-up where they get a sit-down meal. We'll get all the scholars and deliver speeches. But when I personally went to one of the masjid programs, I was with Zed, who's not here today. We were stood outside with a little table. It was raining. It was cold. And in the first 2 hours between us, we'd sold, I think, 2 tickets. And it was disheartening. It was like, where do we go from this? Never mind the target that we want. We can't even sell the tickets. And prior to that, we'd sat down with, not just between us, but we sat down with Sal. Sal organized meeting with the venue people. Sal got people, volunteers from Manchester, and we sat down, had meetings with them. And I'm again thinking, we're talking a big game here. Can we deliver? That, for me, ultimately, because it was not just our reputation or anything, but it was like, we're doing it under the supervision of Hazrat. Loads of scholars are coming. Are they going to be talking to an empty venue?
Yeah.
For me, that was just like nerve-wracking.
Yeah.
I think we had a bit of a to and fro as well, didn't we?
About the ticket
About the ticket. Not just the ticket price, but the ticket and the money.
Yeah.
Because you had your reservations about the money, if we're going to get that money. And I was more like, how are we going to sell these tickets?
Yeah.
And you're like,
Bit of a tip.
It's like we had different mindsets.
Different mindsets. Different mindsets. Right? He was like, "Do tension na len, tickets, we'll get it." And I'm like,
he had my backing, you see.
And I was like, "Paisa tension na len, we got Hazrat. Don't worry about that." And that was kind of interesting as well, because we had different mindsets.
I think it's good. We need that in the team, innit? So whilst I was thinking about the target, Yasin's thinking tickets. So and then he's kind of taking that pressure and sharing it with the team. So it kind of kept everything in balance.
Yeah, I think we're not shy of challenging one another, and I think that's what makes a good team. And we'll challenge one another in a nice way. With like Hazrat sat there as well. We'll question one another, and we'll if there is an issue, we'll try and come up with a solution together as well.
Yeah.
So I think that's something. I think that's why one of the questions that I've been asked since the first podcast has gone out is how have you guys stayed together for so long? Because like I think you mentioned, committees come and go. We're just all sat here as volunteers still, and we've stuck it out over 10 years.
Half of us don't turn up in meetings, that's why.
I'm only here for a while, aren't I?
I truly believe Hazrat being the anchor of this
100%.
is the only
100%.
reason. Otherwise, I think we would have
given up.
given up. Other things would have took priority and stuff. So,
100%.
so coming to yourself, Sal, obviously you saw something in the project. You give us up the motivation. What's your experience or memory of kind of them few months? Because I remember, like, I was working and they were sorting the venue out. And I'd ring Hazrat, and Hazrat would say, right, okay, speak to 3D, memory lane. Then I'd ring you, and then we'd have like a back and forth on something. Then I'd ring Hazrat again. And it was like that period of like 3-4 weeks was manic. Like you'd have to walk away from your work desk, like, okay, Sal, this is what's going on. What do we do? Do you have any memory of them kind of conversations, or was it one call in many calls that day that you were having?
There was a lot of calls. I spoke to the guys at 3D, but I think Thingy played a bit of part as well. I can't remember. I think he did. That was my man.
Yeah.
He was good at getting help with
The
voice
tickets.
clarity. So there's a lot of elders involved as well. As I was watching that video, on YouTube only this morning, I thought just and when you look around on the video, there are a lot of volunteers, and I saw the orange, was it the lanyard? Yeah. So I'm sure a lot of people helped out.
Yeah, no, we did have the volunteers on the day, didn't we?
Yeah, we had loads. Because we reached out to people.
And I think that's a good thing that when we're doing something big, we do get volunteers from the community. Especially just a recent example when we were doing the building.
Yeah.
The community came together, and there was a lot of people who came to help, and so it was.
I think the other thing was if you go back down the years, it's probably one of the biggest during that time somebody's done. In our area regarding a center for a mosque or something.
Did people like? I think your ears are in more places than ours. Were you hearing anything about the event negative, or almost like what's going on?
Something you don't want to talk about. There's always going to be. What I've learned over the years, you'll always get negative stuff. I think one thing I've learned, especially in the last couple of years, is you've just got to have a strong, positive mind. Put your trust in Allah. Put your trust in Nabi Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam. Just go for it. So even with the Escort Street Mosque, the stories behind that, but people saying they tight us or whatever, but Allah no God said it's done. People are using it. You just move on. And same with your mosque. The blessings of Allah and from everyone's dua and everything, you'll reach your goals.
Yeah,
but you just got to be positive. Aim big. Don't aim small.
Yeah.
Always aim big. Have a good team around you. You've got Hazrat there to guide you. And reach out to people, and people will help you.
So in the background, we were planning, like lanyards. So we had like table covers.
We had like a conference call line that we all had.
Who did the food?
I don't know. Valley Master.
Get them wristbands as well.
Wristbands for entry.
You're not going in without the wristbands. Put them on.
So we didn't stop anything in terms of making it into a proper event. We'd thought of everything at the time.
It was sold out. We didn't have any tickets at the door.
We sold out.
But alhamdulillah,
prior to planning, when we were planning it, we had everything in motion. But the only thing that was holding back was the tickets.
Yeah. Has anybody got them tickets flying around?
Yeah, I do.
I've got a WhatsApp design of it.
Yeah.
Got a
when
small
we're proofreading.
Members box that I keep at home. So every event I do, if it's a lanyard, the ticket itself, I put it in that box.
Oh, wow.
What about that Docky? Is that going in there?
This Docky, inshallah,
was it a big ticket? Right?
No, it was a small ticket.
Like a bookmarker.
Yeah, so when they come in, they have to get that lanyard.
Yeah.
You know what? There's something I want to ask you. I was actually managing the tickets and distributing the tickets to you guys. But at the venues that you went to, did anyone poach anyone's sale?
A porch. Sometimes we were just lucky to get that.
It wasn't a luxury.
No,
was it?
we say that we didn't get that message, but how did we actually end up selling all of them? Because we're saying that we struggled,
Yeah.
but we did sell them. So, but
I think I did. I was also.
No, I think we do tables as well.
yeah,
We did.
yeah,
Yeah, some table 10
Yeah.
10 tickets.
I think
Yeah.
what my personal recollection is as we got closer,
people.
people were like, we created leaflets to say this is the event, and we put contact us for tickets. And as it got closer to the date and people realized, hang on a second, no ticket, no entry.
Yeah.
Gonna miss
We were getting phone
Yeah,
calls then
yeah,
saying,
yeah.
right, I want 5 tickets, 10 tickets.
Yeah.
And we were saying, right, pick them up on the door, or we'll have them on the side.
Yeah, yeah.
So we had a lot of people.
exactly
We sold a lot of tables as well.
Yeah,
Yeah.
full
Yeah.
tables to companies and
Yeah, at the start it was a sales job,
yeah,
and then later on it became hot property.
yeah.
Yeah, I had to introduce a cutoff literally the day before at 4 o'clock
Yes,
to say,
people were.
please, no more sales.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
momentum, isn't it?
Yes.
Absolutely.
Anybody know how many numbers with that?
What I recall is there was a phone call between me and Hazrat because the venue was asking how many tables do you want to lay.
Okay.
And at the time, obviously, we couldn't tell for certain exactly how many. And this is, again, just a bit of an insight where Hazrat doesn't just pull out a number for the sake of pulling out a number. He goes, what we're looking at, so about maybe 60 or 70 tables we need. And it was go 63. Lining it up.
It was
Lots of
630
Yeah.
tickets.
And it ended up being literally we needed 63 tables for men, and then I don't know how many we did for females as well.
The sisters there as well.
Yeah, we had the sister section. A lot of it, I think, it just fell into place. So, like you say, you just got to go all in.
For it just
Like-
falls in place.
Even the screens that we had on, like we had professional
Projectors.
screens
Yeah,
set
yeah.
up.
Who did that, Junior?
No, no, no.
No, we had a company coming.
I didn't have the experience back then.
So
And it was a big responsibility as well.
You know that program? Does anybody remember what the financial situation was? Because there's a rental of the hall, there's a rental of equipment. Is that something
I think
we can discuss?
So, yeah, I think
'Cause I can't
at the
remember.
time, like we said in the last pod, it was what we put in as
Yeah.
volunteers, and then donations started coming in for the work we were doing in terms of the classes. And IEC marriage is something that we're going to touch on maybe this podcast or next, but that was also another thing that was attracting people's attention. So
Yeah.
and it was almost like I say all or nothing. We were investing because we were
Yeah.
seeing an event to be and the bigger
Yeah, yeah.
goal of the event.
the agreement was, from what I remember, is whatever we collect on the day will not be spent for the event itself.
Yeah, that's
So whatever we collected from that event was not used for the venue or the food or anything like that.
a lot of things were donated.
A lot of things were donated or done at cost price, and
Yeah.
Even with 3D, I think I spoke to Usman Wajid.
Yeah.
I
He was
remember-
very, very grateful.
Yeah.
He helped us out.
The starters itself was donated by Fazila Foods.
Somebody,
Yeah. I remember Zed was in charge of the kitchen, and
he got a lot of donation from
we got donation from Noor Cash and Carry in the
his-
Munchi's shop on Blackburn Road. So all the local businesses came together and said, right, take 10 bags of rice from
Yeah, I
me,
can remember.
take some 10 kilos of meat from me. So I think it was not just, it was like a whole community coming together for the cause.
Yeah.
And again, I remember Zed and myself was running up and down like Blackburn Road, Halver Road, going to 3D Centre because that's where they were cooking the food. This is run out, right? Quickly go and pick a bag of onions up, quickly.
Yeah.
So a lot of things were donated. Even on the day when we didn't have time to come back to Blackburn Road, Halver Road area, we'd go into a cash and carry
Yeah,
on there and
we
we'd say, this is what we're doing. This is what we need. This is our shopping list. Can you donate anything? And I remember there was a cash and carry on Derby Street. They just said, take everything. Fill the shopping trolley, just take everything. So we had some.
Before we go to the actual event itself, quick fire, one each. What was the hardest thing of the pre-event? Starting with whoever has got a recollection.
I'd say ticket sales.
Now, as one specific example, can you think of something where you thought, this is difficult?
So I'll start then. I think we went Rochdale. Me, you, and Urshan went Rochdale once.
And what we used to do, obviously, if you remember, we used to target programs.
Yes.
So we went to this program in Rochdale or some other masjid. And we'd try and get there near to the end almost, because it's like our focus was to sell these tickets. And we got there and the program lasted for another hour and a half. And it was cold because it's December, November time. So we set up outside thinking that everyone's going to be flocking out and we're just going to try and sell tickets. But people were in a rush to just get out of there.
Mm.
And I remember all that effort, like 3 hours away from home, having a bit of hope that we're going to sell tickets, and probably sold like a handful of tickets. That's probably one of them moments where, I think it was a Sunday as well. So when you go home, you got to work the next day, you've done this, you've spent all these hours. I think that was one moment where I felt like, wow, okay, this is difficult. This is like really putting a grind in now to sell these tickets.
Yeah. I've got a memory of something. Doesn't necessarily answer your question, but I'll share it. So I remember, I don't know who was with me, maybe you, Yasin, Fez. We were at a mosque in Manchester. I won't say the mosque. It's not the mosque that we normally go to in Manchester, but another mosque in Manchester for Jummah. Because we were going where we could, we would attend Jummah at different mosques, and then we would try to sell the tickets after Jummah. And we had spoken with the organization that, look, we're coming to sell tickets, but I think somebody else spoke to them. And what they must have said is, if you're coming to sell tickets, that's fine. But if you're coming to collect donations, that's not fine. You know, we have a rota. You've got to write your name.
Yeah.
Now, whoever made that arrangement on our behalf with them didn't communicate that clearly with me. But again, we went to sell tickets anyway. So we stood outside this mosque selling tickets, and the public there, they weren't interested in the tickets, but they just give you 20 quid. So I remember somebody phoning me up and saying, oh, how are you doing selling tickets? I was, I've not sold a lot of tickets, but I got a lot of 20 quid here. Right? This is great. And then a few minutes later, one of the responsible people from the mosque came, and there was another charity organization doing collection, and they were a bit like, what's going on here? Like, why is our donation being split? And the organizer from the mosque came and said, what are you guys doing? Like, you were just meant to sell tickets. You can't start collecting money. Because we had like a little bucket, because I was getting these 20 quids. We actually like, what about grab that bucket? So we felt guilty in the end. And what we said is, look, this is not right. This isn't our money. We just came to sell tickets here, right? So we gave that money to the charity that was there in the end. But that was a funny experience.
It's a good story.
I like that.
That was
He was there with me.
That was that was the quickest quickfire I've seen. That was the quickest quickfire I've seen.
Turned out to be a story. Yes,
I can't remember. Yeah, I can't remember. There's two other people with
It might
me.
be with Sal, because I don't
Might
remember.
be Sal, yeah. It was after Jummah.
I think I got a challenge where it was a mosque in Bolton, again, no names mentioned, but it was, well, it's a program, it's a method, it should be open to all. Why are you charging £20? What's the £20 for? And I think it was that mentality, because it'd never been seen before, like in Bolton, where you're doing this type of event. And I think that was quite challenging as well, because you've got the utmost respect for the person that's asking you these questions, but sometimes the questions coming out were quite not in the best of tones or with the best of vocabulary. So that was quite challenging.
Any more highlights or anything pre-event?
Yes, it was lovely.
No, I can't even remember what I
I think I was with us.
So
So you've
I
not
don't-
been to any ticket?
I can't recall.
So
I must.
he was
I-
worried about tickets. So you never attended.
I must,
So worries with something.
I must have been, but I can't recall any specific ones.
But just on that story that I said, the funny thing was that whoever phoned me and I told them, oh, yeah, I've not sold many tickets, but we've done really well with donations. So at the next meeting, I think somebody already told Hazrat. So, they were asking, oh, I heard you did really well at this mosque. And I was like, yeah, about that, actually got it wrong.
So the event itself then, 3D center, expecting 800 people. Early recollections is just Junaid setting up last minute like he does, but he pulls it off. To be fair,
Actually, I think, if you remember correctly, I got locked into the room on that day.
Oh,
Yeah, work. Sis would actually let me out of the office saying that you've got to do your work.
Oh,
I'm there at the photocopier. We're trying to print the menus itself, the itinerary of what's going to happen, and make the land use at the same time. I was like, no, you've got to do your work. You're not going. He goes, I don't care about them boys. You've got to do my work for me. I need this today. And this time fighting him to say,
I need him over there.
so I was in between the night before. So it was actually really
I think with Junaid, I think we've all experienced, he works really, really well under pressure, lastminute.com.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Yeah, he pulls it off. Mashallah.
Yeah.
So event starts off, people turn up. It was actually really good. Probably one of the highlights was people just turning up.
I think the
And it was
highlight,
like, wow,
there's one
this is
highlight
really-
that you've missed before in the morning. The Z freaking out.
About the food.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then
What happened there? Remember it? What happened?
I had,
What happened? Because you like were charging.
Somebody.
Oh yeah, I know.
Thing
I know.
yeah.
No, all you could hear,
We'll have that discussion when it's off.
all you could hear was a phone vibrating every 2 seconds. A message
can
coming,
remember
message
that.
coming, coming, and the letters going from small caps to caps. Large and large and large.
I think the other thing, sorry, which was a highlight of the program, that was probably one of the very first, or maybe first few times, where that program happened, not just because of us,
No.
the amount of people that were involved
Yes.
in supporting that, and all the volunteers.
Yeah,
You brought-
earlier on there was so many people.
It's amazing.
I remember,
It
but
was
then
amazing.
There's about
if you look at it on YouTube and if you get a chance and you'll see
Yeah.
people walking around.
Yeah. And they weren't just like bit part players. They were actually
Taking
taking
responsibility, yeah.
responsibility.
I was looking at the WhatsApp chat that we had, and I'm not going to say the names, but there was like 15 people
Yeah.
on top of the
Yeah.
9 of us,
Every single one of them.
every
yeah.
single one of them.
And their sisters as well. You can't
Sisters,
say
yeah.
They had their own team
they have
as
their
well.
own team as well.
I think
Big
for,
event.
for me as well is every time towards the end, every meeting that we had, and we had pretty frequent meetings with Hazrat, we say, this scholar's coming, this scholar's coming, this scholar's coming. And it was quite, again, for me personally, it was overwhelming because it was scholars from all over the UK that are going to be traveling on the day. There was scholars from India, Pakistan, and it was just like, right, okay, we're hosting not only these 800 people that are coming, but we're hosting the ulama, the scholars from all over the world. And that in itself, I remember we had a couple of people just dedicated to that. I think it was Mahmoud and Sharif that looked after the stage area, and Arshan.
Yeah.
There was a few of them that looked after the stage area, and that in itself was like overwhelming that these scholars have trust again in us, that they've made the journey from wherever they've come to. But then you realize that their intention is they're doing it for Allah, and they've got full trust in that.
Look, I hope you're enjoying the episode so far. I've got something really special to share with you. Last Ramadan, our community did something incredible. In just a few days, you came together and raised £200,000. And because of that generosity, the shell of this new masjid didn't just rise, it shot up in record time. Volunteers showed up, bricks were lifted, walls took shape, and what started as a dream became something now we can stand in front of. And now, this Ramadan, we're entering the final push. This is it. This is the last stretch. The final drive to raise the remaining funds needed to complete the new Madani Masjid. The finish line is in sight, and we want you to be part of this historic moment. Join us for our live appeal on the first week of Ramadan. All the links will be shared and all the doors will be open. We just need hearts like yours to walk through them. Let's complete what we started. Let's build the house of Allah together. Remember the words of the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam: whoever builds a masjid for Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, Allah will build for them a house in Jannah. This is your chance to invest in something that outlives you, benefits generations to come, and echoes into the hereafter. Look, Remember, every salah, every i'tikaf, every ibadat, every child that learns how to pray the Quran, every act of any type of worship anyone does in this masjid, it will all benefit you in this world, in the hereafter, and will become ongoing sadqa jariyah for you forever and ever. Assalamu alaikum.
So we've got the biggest event in town. We've got done all the prep. This is the big day now, yeah? Everyone has like quiet reflections, just like maybe a night before, 2 days before, where the thought does come to your head, they're like, why am I doing this? And I think you have to. If you don't, you have to, in a sense where you've got to almost renew your need to say that. Because I think at times when we're working as a team, it's a bit of a laugh and a joke, and we enjoy it, and we get bogged down into the task that I can't. But I think we have reflection moments, and everyone's probably had a personal reflection moment where you think, okay, this is why I'm doing it, right? We're making a masjid, right? And maybe namaz there. And then you look at the community, the youth and everything, and you kind of like go deep on it. And I think that's what kind of pushes you on to say, you know what I'm doing is the right thing, and I'm going to put my 100% into it. So with that in mind, like, and I get all of it sometimes when I said I speak to Sal, and he kind of reflects that on me. Look at the bigger picture. You're not just fundraising to build a masjid. Look at the bigger picture. That masjid's going to cater for the youth. You need to do this, you need to do that. Where's that reflection moment for yourself, Sal, when we're going towards 3D and the event? Do you I know you've said to me before that you have these moments, and maybe not for the 3D, maybe your memory doesn't go back, but what's your kind of thoughts in terms of masjids, positive work in the community? What have you seen that people like us might not have seen, which kind of spurs you on, which I've noticed, like you'll see a lot more in this on the streets, for example, and it gives you that energy to, now I need to fix this. Whereas a lot of us now, we go home, we go work, we come back, we don't see a lot of stuff. So sometimes we get lost in.
Good. I think it's probably I'm not going to use the word upbringing. It was my upbringing. It's probably my time on the streets. Things what we got up to. And during that time, we always thought if we had something in place, either a youth club or somebody taking us to the mosque, things like that are very important now. Obviously, we've all got children, but we need a base. We've always a feel. And I think that's why when I was, like, you played football for me when I looked at you guys, and we'll go back to that thing again. And, when I used to do a lot of youth work at M&I used to always get you guys up, that these are the stars of the future. But ideally, things like this is very important, and I kind of saw something in you guys that you could kind of take this forward in terms of like taking kids off the streets, because alcohol, drugs. You've got the gas thing at this moment in time. There's a lot of people in debt, gambling. There's so many things going on at this moment in time. So now you look at the institutions, what we have. You've got Mission Islam, you've got Win Islam, and I feel even with Madni Masjid IC Center, with you guys running it, I think we can bring different elements in the community. What I feel, like we run the football club, it's not just about football. We like to do other things with the football club. So I think it's very important where you have some certain things where you bring other people in.
Sorry, I want to ask you, Sally, is because back in the days when I got to know you and what you were doing for the youth and stuff like that, what drove you to do what you were doing? Because you were knocking on doors. You had people coming to see you.
Yeah. It's probably my journey.
Yeah.
it's probably my journey, or because we didn't have anything, and I didn't want to see somebody else growing up the way we grew up.
Yeah.
And I always wanted to give them something like, okay, it's wrong for you, don't do this, don't do this. I was very passionate, but don't forget, I was very young as I wish I can do it now. I wish I had the energy what I had before. And this is why I'm always looking. And I have this conversation a lot of times. Now, where can we find that next? I'm not going to sell Docky, yeah. Where is he? Where can we find? Is the one in the community where he's going to go around, lead the youth, inspire the youth. It's very important. We need somebody like that.
I think on the back of that, in terms of what you said about renewing intentions, right at the beginning of this podcast, I did say that for me it was an angle about engaging with the community and the non-Muslims. Me and Sal, we worked together, we went out on the road together. There was a lot of times where we faced people that had never come across a Muslim or an Asian person before. After they got talking to us, they'd be like, "You're an alright one."
Yeah.
That typical, you're an alright one. And I remember one thing that we did, and I remember it like we did yesterday. There was an incident in Manchester, a terrorist attack in June 2017, July 2017. And on the back of that, Hazrat said, right, we need to do something in the community. And I remember without any sort of permissions or anything like that, we rocked up outside Marketplace in the town centre. We went with the books that Professor Masood from America has written. Would you like to know about Islam? And we had cartons of food.
Yeah.
That was in Ramzan, wasn't it?
Yeah, that was in Ramzan. We were all fasting. And I remember we turned up to Marketplace. And for me, that was really powerful because we've never done anything like that before. All of a sudden, we've got this attention from the non-Muslims and we were sharing. And I was really passionate about that. Not because we want to convert them or anything like that. That wasn't my intention. My intention was we are humans as well. And there is a sort of a stigma that all Muslims are this and all Muslims are that. And for me, it's to get rid of that because we constantly got it. We go into parts of Scotland, Northwest. Oh, you're an alright one. You're not like the rest of them. But we are. We're the same. We're all the same. And I remember the person, the manager who was running Marketplace, he sort of said, you can't be here. You've not got permission. Security guards came out initially as we were trying to pop up the canopy. And just a few months prior to that, I bought the house of the lady that was trying to stop us. She recognized me and she said to me, right, what is it that you're actually doing? I said, look, we're not asking for any donations or anything like that. We're not selling anything. This is all we are doing. And she goes, you know what? It's a wonderful message. Carry on for as long as you want. And for me, that was a driver to like sort of stay with this guy, stay with this idara, stay with this center. And I again, like you spoke to Sal a lot on the phone, but we used to travel a lot and we used to bounce ideas. And for me, I was really passionate about that, engaging with the community, not just the regulars that you see.
It's the conversation what we normally have as well as on converts, that it sometimes we do the colmas and everything, and I've always said it. I've said it for years. Sometimes it's easy, but the hardest thing is the after sale. It's looking after them, giving them something, bringing them to the mosque. How are you? What are you doing?
Giving them that support.
Giving them that support. And things like this, you know, this is why I look up to you guys, because I know you guys would be able to deliver this. There has to be something, inshallah. Like once the mosque is done, have something in place where people can come, speak to people when they're going through the early journey of accepting Islam. You guys are there for them. I think you did it a few years ago in Ramzan. Because I know I've helped a few converts, and obviously no names mentioned. One, obviously you all know him, but he had to go to, he went to Bradford. I was speaking to him because he said blatantly to me that there's just no helping. In
I think one thing that we find, and obviously you were saying to me this before as well, where we need to do this, we need to do that. I think what this podcast will bring out is there's so much that happens behind the scenes in any committee or any team.
Yeah.
would love to do certain more things. And this is where I think we need to bring more people in, because there's only a limited number of things that a team can do. This team needs to be twice the size by next year, for example, and even bigger after that. We can deliver whatever you're saying. And a point I was going to make before is, one thing you used to say to me with regards to people on the street, either they're in drugs or gambling or whatever, which kind of stuck with me, was that person there, he wants to change. Like, don't think that they're just on their own track and they don't want to know you.
A lot of people
That
want to
person is
change. They just
seeking-
need that support.
Yeah.
They just need the right guidance, the right person to go and speak to them.
Yeah.
And everybody wants to change. Who doesn't want to change?
Yeah. But that's
You
an
just-
insight, though.
yeah.
You know, when we look at somebody, we think, oh, they're on their own track. They want to be left alone. But you said to me, no, it's not like that at all. That person's itching. Someone come and get me from here. I'm stuck in a ditch. Come and collect me. And that's what you saw.
Yeah, years
Yeah.
ago I used to do that, and I don't know if you can remember. I used to take them to my house, a lot of them to my house. I used to feed them. We used to play PlayStation together. But that was with where I was with their age. I could only stay with them for a certain time. Does that make sense? Then weekend was an issue. So me being an older person, they were like 10, 15-year gap. So they needed to be in an environment with somebody from their age, with a person who's going to the mosque, who's got knowledge of Islam. He's got a bit of a personality, where he'll drive him down to Winslow Road for a kebab or shisha or whatever, having a good time with them, but keeping him occupied. And I think that's where I struggled. That's where I felt I couldn't find no help. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
I think everybody's got a skill set where you can reach out to people and you can, you can help people.
If someone's listening now, this podcast, and they feel like they're a bit stuck in a ditch, or they've just got this habit that they can't seem to click out of, what message would you say to them?
Reach out to us. There's different ways people know us, privately, whatever. Reach out to us. I'm always there.
And you've seen your time, loads of stories where not people just reaching out, but people come out of that ditch and they have different lives. I think that's what the hope goes, and that's the hope we need to give to say.
The other thing what opened my eyes was, obviously we don't want to mention names or whatever. I used to get a lot of phone calls from Dublin to Dean Road there. And once me and Zach we went down to a house and spoke to the parents about the child and everything. And then he was at the Salvation Army. And that opened my eyes. And even in my times, I've never seen something like that. To see a Muslim boy at Salvation Army with a habit of drugs, but we helped him. Alhamdulillah, we got him out of there. We got him some medical help. Alhamdulillah, he's doing well as well now. So there is, but it's very time consuming. You have to have a team around them where you've got to give people time.
Yeah. So to bring it back to the event, so all of this is whirling around our heads, different intentions, different background stories, different fears. So we start the event off. Like, first, do you have any kind of recollections of them early moments when Hazrat mentioned people, if you want to donate towards the masjid? And then I think there was a bit of a flurry in terms of people putting their hand up and that excitement of people pledging.
Is that before the program?
No, during the event.
Yeah.
During the event, anyone actually, do you have any kind
I
of
think
recollections?
there's one photograph I think I shared with you on the group a couple of days ago, and it was both of you stood, and it was quite a lively program, but you were both stood looking at each other, and they say a picture paint 1,000 words.
Yeah.
And the worries and the stresses that we can see, I can see, read on that photograph. What was all that
Shows
about?
that picture.
What was all that about?
So that picture actually
Is that one there?
it's a profile picture.
Oh, what's up?
Yeah, it's got that profile. Right, okay.
Sounding that
You're
one.
a-
Yeah, I'm in that.
You know what it looks like.
I'm saying to myself, otherwise these two worried for I've got it all under control.
Ria's telling me something to do, and I'm like, oh.
Yeah.
Oh, here we go.
He has to do
Let
the
it
math
be.
quite early. I think after the flurry finished, he looked at the kind of target and how much he'd reach, and he asked him, did the calculations. He's like, okay, we're not getting that. I think we're about, at the time, 60, 70,000 pounds short. So he came and told me, I did the maths, and I'm like, actually, I can't see anyone putting their hand up.
It's probably near the end of the program.
Yeah.
That picture.
Yeah. What I remember about it is we did really well with selling the tickets, and during the event, when Hazrat was calling out to raise funds, alhamdulillah, people donated, but it was again not getting to the number we wanted to get to. And I think, like yourself, I was working things out in my head.
So everything's running through your head at that time, because say the target's 150 and we've raised 65 short, whatever that is, 63 short. You're thinking, what next?
Yeah, because this was our
All eggs in one
this
basket.
was it.
Yeah,
This was it. Is this all?
All or nothing.
Yeah.
all or nothing. And it was literally that
It was
moment,
literally
all or
that. It was
nothing.
what are we going to do after this? Yeah.
Because we can't buy the
No.
property with this money. But then this brings to
Yeah.
where the money came from, which is an amazing story. And one lesson I learned during that was never judge a book by its cover.
Yeah.
The people that donated, and you think, wow, okay.
Yeah.
You know, there's so many people out there that you don't realize in the community who are willing to give.
who want to
Yeah.
give as well.
And that brings
yeah.
us to how we finished off the target on the day.
So I remember, I think I was in the same boat as you guys, but I was like, I don't want to show any negativity because I don't want to put a down on such a lovely program, scholars, and spiritually it was a really good program. And then there was someone that I recognized in the crowd, and he called me over on one of the tables, someone I've known for a very long time, and he was like, "Oh, have you got 5 minutes? Let's have a catch up." And I've not seen this person for a few months, and I was thinking to myself, I can't say no to this person, but in the middle of a program when Ois Qadri is on the mic, I just want to listen to this. But even then, we went outside, then we got talking, and he was like, "So what's your plans? What is it that you want to do at this center, and what are you going to do with the money?" So I sort of explained what our vision was. We're working under the guidance of Hazrat. And he said, "Okay, I want to make a donation." So I said, "All right, okay, what would you like to donate?" And I remember we had these pieces of paper that we cut out, and we were making notes on it and passing it to the stage team, and they were then filtering them through to Hazrat. He goes, "But before I make a donation, one thing, do not mention my name. I want to remain anonymous." And to this day, we've not mentioned this brother's name. And I said, right, jokingly, I'd start whispering in my head, "Ask for a number, you'll get it. Ask for a number." So I said, "What shall I put down? Shall I put 10 grand down?" And he goes, "Now we'll do a bit more, inshallah." I said, "Okay, what I'm now getting." So he said, "Put 60,000 pounds down." I'm like, sorry, like from me 10,000, from 10,000 pounds. I'm thinking, what this guy normally when in negotiation, I thought he'd start at 2. I'm going at 10, probably meet in the middle.
Did he know that we needed that 60?
I think he was. Yeah, he did, because I think we were looking at the target, and he knew we were short. So he said, "Yeah, put 60,000 pounds down." So I put it down. He walked in.
Oh,
I needed a minute in the car park. I'll be honest with you, it was freezing because again, you're looking at the beginning of January. This program was in 2018. I needed a minute. So I walk in, and I see you two. And I came to you, and you were like, I said, I think you looked at me thinking, "Is you all right?" I think that
you
was
said that so casually. You're like, I've got this person who's giving 60,000. What shall we do?
What should we do? What should we do? And you were like, "Well, take it." So wrote a slip out, and I remember writing Muslim brother out. So I'm thinking, if I give this slip now to Hazrat and the stage team, I don't want to put any names down because he said specifically no names mentioned. He wants to remain anonymous. And I thought, what's Hazrat going to say? Is someone playing a joke here, or is this genuine and whatnot? So I thought, rather than giving it to the stage team, I went and handed it to Hazrat myself, and I said to Hazrat, this is definite. And Hazrat even looked at the slip and he said, definite. I said, yeah, definite. Inshallah. And I left everything to Hazrat at that point, walked away from the stage, and I think that got us over the line.
Yeah,
Amazing
I think there's more to that story though, because it's what happened afterwards.
I'm thinking, but after the event, a few days later, I think that night we had a debrief at my house.
Yeah.
And I think we were there till quite late. We were sat with buckets of money, didn't know what to do with it because we'd never been in that position.
Yeah.
But a week later or so, we gathered again at the center, and Hazrat had told me to invite this brother.
Yeah.
And he came. And I remember Hazrat speaking to him in Urdu. The gentleman didn't he understood it, but he couldn't speak it at all. So he's speaking to Hazrat in English. Hazrat is understanding it, but responding back in Urdu. So it was a quite unique situation.
Yeah.
And I remember he said to us, he stood up and he said to us that giving money is the easy part. You'll always find people that want to donate. They're looking for an excuse to donate. But what you'll find difficult is people giving up their times.
Yeah.
And he said he thanked us for giving him the opportunity to donate, because we've given our time to this idara. I don't know whether that is what you were referring to.
Yeah,
for me, that was really powerful.
That, yeah.
You'll find a lot of people who want to donate.
Yeah, and
do want to donate.
Like, Leah said, never judge a book by its cover, and a really simple guy.
Why that signifies to me is because at the start of this podcast, we were talking about how we felt about going and asking for money for the house of Allah, and towards the end of that journey, we've got somebody offering us money, not only offering the money for the masjid, but then actually thanking us. And that whole, from one end of the spectrum to the other, that's what was amazing.
That was amazing. And in that meeting, he transferred the money to us.
It was there.
We had the money in front of us in our account. So that was a really good kind of almost ending to this part of the journey where we're now sat here. We've got the money that we kind of opened up for. Before I kind of conclude on this particular podcast, is there any other reflections you want to share before?
I think just for me, I just want to say, like Afan just mentioned, that what we started off with and how we ended. But if your intention is...
I was going to say that.
From start, anything, Ikhlas, and we mentioned that in the last podcast as well, and that's brought from Hazrat to us as well, Ikhlas, and it all falls into place. And as you heard from the story, it all fell into place, alhamdulillah.
Leading up to the event, I remember we were having meetings regularly, and I think it was one of the meetings where Hazrat was kind of asking us, how do you feel? What do you think? What do you think? And I think nearly most of us said, we're up for this. Although I'm not holding my breath. Something along those lines. And in that meeting as well, Hazrat said, don't worry, have your intentions clean, do it with ikhlas, and Allah will do what's best.
Yeah. So we've got the money. The real work now starts.
Yeah.
All these people have trusted us with this money. And I remember, obviously, the next meetings and everything that happened after, coming to the point that we are now, is what we're going to discuss in the next podcast. There's lots of ups and downs, loads of meetings that we had to have, challenges again, but having this ikhlas in place is what kind of pulled us through the following years. So I think we'll end it here.
But before you end it, I just want to add one thing, and then you can end it. I'll probably use a lot of Gujarati in this, just sadly hoy, going in the sadly hoy, people stress out. Yes or no?
Yeah.
Kedi tase, kedi mono kano, da kano se, pelu kano se, ke phone diku. And we all know ke shadi sunnat se baba. Yeah. But chale shadi ko khat rokait.
Nah.
What happens?
In-
Thai sai
Yeah,
je.
it's done.
Gamme de lu stress hoy, gamme de hoy. Shadi to thawan itcha. And I will say this to my friends, ke tension na lo, shadi to thaine de honit, yeah. And end on this. Tama ko banaza.
Allah no go.
Allah no go.
Yeah. Beautiful.
Who's looking after you?
So happens.
Subhanallah.
Allah is looking after you.
Yes.
And to end it here, we obviously, with people who are close to me, I've had a tough year and a half, family issues and that. And Alhamdulillah, Ziriti Allah tarafti. Ziriti Allah tarafti. I'm going to use the word test. Ziriti Allah pak test yapta rani. Iriti imno rosto mind of kuli devata. So he was testing me. I know why he was testing me. I know. Yeah. I know why he's testing me. It's a test. Iriti a masjid बनाओ कोई भी कौम अल्लाह नहीं रखने अंदर भाई. And you said it in your first podcast where Hazrat has building to you. Your heart, your flash, keep that clean. No matter what obstacles come in front of you, there'll always be a goal. There'll always be an end goal at the end. And by building the mosque, Allah goes, He's going to help you.